Or you could quit trying to cut me off. We could just both fish it and quit arguing about it.
You ain't got nowhere else to go, so you're gonna start here.
That was real footage from a $100,000 bass tournament on Kentucky Lake. Really? Seriously? So I've been following professional bass fishing since I was probably in middle school, and this has to be the craziest thing that I've ever seen.
Wow.
All right, so here's a little background on the situation. The guy on the left is Randy Haynes, and the guy on the right is Jason Lambert. This incident actually happened on day 3 of a 4-day tournament on Kentucky Lake. It was an FLW Tour tournament, and coming into the event, Randy Haynes was in first place, but Lambert was in second place, and he was only behind by like a little over 2 pounds. Apparently, both of them caught their big sacks out on this hole on day 1 of the tournament. Jason Lambert actually showed up to the spot first, caught his fish, and then moved because it's a 4-day tournament, you save your fish. And then later in the day, Randy Haynes came to that particular spot. And so that's where Randy Haynes actually camped out for the rest of the day and caught all his fish. So then day 2 comes around, and Randy Haynes decides that he wants to open on that spot, naturally. And he had a better boat draw than Jason Lambert. So Jason Lambert decided to go fish elsewhere as a result because he couldn't fish his spot. Now that brings us to the controversial day 3. And so obviously heading into that morning, both guys thought that that was their best spot. And they're head to head. At this point, it's basically a 2-dog race. Haynes versus Lambert. It's obvious at this point that it's going to be one of those 2 guys who wins. And it's a boat race to the spot. And then the bumper boats begin. So both guys are fishing. Apparently Jason Lambert catches a few fish and Randy Haynes hasn't caught a fish. As you can see in the video, Randy Haynes is very visually frustrated. And then this happens.
I'll tell you what, you can have it. I'm finna go to the damn house. I gotta go to work anyhow.
Well, that was interesting. That was interesting. Never in my entire fishing career have I had anything like that to happen.
Now, Randy Haynes didn't just leave the spot to go fish another spot. He literally left the tournament, packed up his boat, put it on the trailer, and drove home, literally. Coming into the day, Haynes was leading the tournament. He was definitely the favorite to win over $100,000. And he left. Now with the juicy sweet spot to himself, naturally, Jason Lambert caught the crap out of the fish and destroyed the field for the last 2 days of the event and won it all.
Look at this friggin' beast.
That one hadn't missed many groceries either.
I don't know, I'm telling you, it's probably 9-pounder.
I'd say
That just meant we got a real big bag today.
But of course, his win was overshadowed by this controversy. So the real question is, how the heck does this happen? On a massive lake like Kentucky Lake that I believe has over 250 square miles of water.
wow.
So the problem with these summertime tournaments on the Tennessee River, and Kentucky Lake is a reservoir from the Tennessee River, is the fish tend to school up really heavy on the ledges in the summer. And as a result, there's gonna be a few different schools in the lake that are potential tournament winning schools. These are the schools with the really big fish that win tournaments. It's just a reality out on the Tennessee River at this time of year.
You know, this is something that since Kentucky Lake has become such a good lake and such a good ledge fishing lake, this happens pretty regular.
So the big question here is who was in the wrong, who was using poor tournament etiquette, whose fault was this? That's what a lot of people want to ask.
Don't blame him!
Why not?
It's not really his fault.
Well, whose fault is it then, you cloth-eared bint?
And honestly, the honest answer is probably gonna ruffle some feathers. I'm sorry. Now, I personally don't think either angler was in the wrong. I think they both had a right to that spot. A lot of guys want to point the finger at Lambert and say, you're supposed to let the tournament leader have the spot, or whatever, you know? But to me, that is absolutely insane. So at this point in the tournament, it was a two-man race for the win. And so according to the unwritten rules of tournament fishing, you're supposed to give the leader the spot. So you're telling me that Jason Lambert should just let Randy Haynes win, even though he's the only one who could potentially challenge him. To me, that makes 0 sense. 0 sense at all. To me, that's like quitting a football game at halftime because one team is leading by a field goal or something. You don't quit a game halfway through the game just because somebody is leading. You keep on playing and you see who earns the win through the entire tournament or the entire game. Now, before you leave an angry comment down below, I think it's important to remember that both of these guys fished this spot earlier in the tournament. And obviously both of them found it in practice. I think they both had a fair claim to the spot.
Is there a big school of fish there? Yes. Have they both been fishing that same area the last 2 days at different times? Yes.
Yes.
They both wanted to start there?
And it's not just Haynes who should have the spot because he was leading by 2 pounds halfway through the tournament.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I guess after the tournament, Randy Haynes made a note. He posted a Facebook status explaining why he left the tournament and sort of reflecting on it. And I just wanted to take out like a sentence or two that I thought was sort of interesting that I don't know if I agree with. Quote, "If someone was leading and I fished the hole they were on before, even if I were in contention, I would not go there." Again, those unwritten rules instilled in me from a long time ago. Manners, ethics. So in other words, Haynes thought because he was leading the tournament, he should have the right to the spot. He thought that Lambert was being unethical and that he should have given up the spot to him and essentially ceded the tournament to him because of unwritten rules that say you always yield to the leader, even when the tournament's only halfway over and both anglers have fished the spot and you're in second place. You just need to give up. All right, I'm gonna stop beating a dead horse here. So who is in the wrong? I don't personally think that it really matters, but what I do think matter is the ramifications of Haynes leaving that event. Maybe this will change the way tournament organizations do things in the future. Maybe they'll avoid events like this where the fish are stacked up together in deep, warm water where the delayed mortality is extremely high and the guys are all fishing next to each other, doing things they don't want to do. Nobody wants to fish bumper to bumper with other guys, and this isn't the first time that something like this has happened. But anyway, so that's one potential ramification. This is another ramification of what happened from this event. And a lot of you guys are probably gonna scoff when I say this, but Randy Haynes, when he signed up for the FLW Tour, he made a promise to X number of companies that he would fish every single event and try his hardest to do well and promote their products.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise.
And on that day on Kentucky Lake, Randy Haynes broke that promise. Most guys who finish these tournaments end up finishing well below 50th place, and those guys honestly don't do a lot for their sponsors during that tournament. They're not getting the recognition, they're not ending up in newspapers, they're not getting on TV, nobody's writing about these people, or they don't want to know what baits they were using or whatever. But if you win the tournament, that is the ultimate prize for the people who are sponsoring you, who are supporting you. That is the ultimate thing you can do for your sponsors as a tournament fisherman. So Haynes not only walked away from possibly winning $100,000 in tournament winnings, but he also broke a promise to the people who are supporting him. That's not cool.
Hey man, that's not cool.
Both fishermen had a phenomenal year. I know that both of them are going to be fishing the Forest Wood Cup later this year. I hope both of them do extremely well. I hope Haynes is in the top 5 in contention to win. And hopefully the tournament fishing industry learned a couple things from this event, like maybe we shouldn't be fishing these tournaments where it's going to be bumper boats out on the ledges and you're plucking fish from deep warm water. Just a couple thoughts there. But hey, that's all I got for this video, and I want to thank you guys for following along if you made it this far and watching. Obviously, if you're here, you like bass fishing. So I recently did a video, I'll link it right here, and I basically looked at the color spectrum of largemouth bass and what colors can they see. And one interesting finding that I found was that largemouth bass have a hard time seeing chartreuse. Initiate bass vision. And so I dug into that and I looked at some other different colors. So make sure to check that video out if that sounds interesting to you, and let me know in the comments what you think about this video. What's your opinion on this whole big fiasco? So I hope that didn't ruffle too many feathers out there. Once again, I want to thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you later.